Okay, problem number 11. It's the first question with three variables, and we're trying to solve for all three, but in order to do that, I'm trying to get rid of a variable so that I can have two equations with two variables, so then I can use elimination like normal. So if you look at my equations, you see how I have z and z in the first and second equations? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that as step 1, and I am going to get rid of z. So I take the top equation and the middle equation, and they're both z, but I want them to be able to cancel out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply one of these equations by -1. So negative 2x, negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4y, and negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1z. And then negative 1 times 0 is 0. Once I multiply everything in that middle equation by -1, it then allows for my z's to cancel out when I add them together. Z plus a negative 1z are going to cancel out to 0. So 4x and negative 2x is going to be 2x. 4y and positive 4y is going to be 8y, and 24 plus 0 is going to be 24. So I have one equation with two variables. Because I got rid of my z's in the first two equations, I have to get rid of z in the third equation. And it really doesn't matter which equation I pick to go with it. I can pick the first or the second one. I'm going to go ahead and pick the second one, and I'm going to eliminate z that way. So let me take the bottom equation and the middle equation, and then what I'm going to do from there is try to make my z's the same number but opposite signs. And you see how I already have a negative 5z on that first equation that I got from that bottom equation. I'm going to multiply the bottom equation that I have here by 5 so that I can make a positive 5z when I multiply. So let me go ahead and multiply the rest of this equation out. 5 times 2 is 10x. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. 5 times 1z is 5z. And then 5 times 0 at the end is still 0. So once I multiply everything by 5, that's what I get. So now let me add my two equations together. 5x and 10x make 15x. Negative 4y, negative 20y make negative 24y. And negative 5z and positive 5z cancel out, which is what I want. Now finally, 12 plus 0 is 12. So in the end of doing that, now I've got step 3. In step 3, I'm going to take both of these equations that I got from adding the equations with three variables together, and now I'm going to do elimination from here just like normal. So let me get rid of the y's in this case. You see if I multiply that 8 by 3, it's going to make it a positive 24. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and multiply that equation by 3. I get 3 times 2 is 6x. 3 times 8 is 24y. And then 3 times 24 is going to be 72. So once I multiply everything by 3, I'm left with those two equations. Now I can add my equations together. Negative 24 plus 24y cancel out. I'm left with 15x plus 6x, and that gives me 21. And 12 plus 72 is going to give me 84. If I divide both sides by 21, x equals 4. So now that I have step 3 completed, I've solved for x, now I just have to borrow either one of these two equations that have just x and y to solve for y. And I'm going to take the first one just because the numbers are a little bit easier. So this is my step 4. Now that I know that x equals 4, I'm going to say 2 times 4 plus 8y equals 24. I know that 2 times 4 is 8. And if I subtract 8 from each side, I get 8y equals 16. Divide both sides by 8, and I get y equals 2. So then finally, now that I know that x and y both equal something, I can then borrow one of my original equations. And I think I'm just going to take the first one I have, 4x plus 4y plus z equals 24. I am going to plug in x is 4 there. I'm going to plug in y is 2 where y is at. Four times 4 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8. 16 plus 8 is going to make 24. And if I subtract 24 on each side, I know that z equals 0. So x equals 4, y equals 2, and z equals 0.